Hello, everybody, and welcome to this year's International Euphonium Summit 2023 Living History Series with our new cohort and guest, Charlie Johnson. Welcome, Charlie.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. It was really awesome to get to see one of our other cohort members perform one of a movement or both movements that you have for Into the Abyss.
It was just so that's a
Oh no, it was a
uh
new piece. That's right. It was
yeah.
that the gaming piece.
Yeah, the title, which I came up with pretty late, honestly, but
Oh, that's cool.
the title is Level Up, Suite for Euphonium and Electronics. And Jessica played the just the first movement out of six that we're gonna do all together.
That's cool. That's going to be really awesome to follow up with you on that. Totally forgot that it wasn't Into the Abyss. It was the Level Up. So that's my bad on the podcast host here, video host. So uh, anyway, that's really awesome that she was able to play that for her DMA recital over at UKMC.
KU, University of
KU,
Kansas.
KU,
Yeah.
yes, University of Kansas. Oh boy, I need some more coffee. Um, well, Charlie, thank you for joining us and starting your series with us. We're glad to have you on during your fall break. As of the time of this recording, it is October 16th, 2023, and we are honored to have you on and share your beginnings through where you go throughout this wonderful journey we call life. Why don't you take us back when it all first started? When did you start with music?
um I I guess I started taking uh private lessons, I think when I was 8, probably, on piano and violin. But I was a really bad student for both. So I think I took piano lessons for maybe like 4 weeks. um, I stuck with violin for a year and then I switched to trumpet. Uh, and then I didn't switch to euphonium until middle school. Um, Composition wise, uh, that was, I don't have an exact date, I don't think. I think I was around like 9 years old. Um, my parents got me Kindle Fire for Christmas, and there was this I found this notation software, um and it wasn't very good. Like it didn't transpose any instruments, and the more that was the more you wrote, like the longer it took to load. It was super clunky and it crashed all the time. Uh but that was like the first time I started like really like writing and arranging things. And I think I think it was after sometime around that time the movie Tangled came out, and uh I don't know why the like the music in Tangled just like scratched a really specific itch in my brain at the time, and I I I wanted to make things that sounded like that for a really long time. Um and I think that's when I started writing.
So you enjoyed the patterns and kind of the instrumentation and how everything fell melodically within those compositions in the pieces.
Yeah, I mean, particularly, I remember, so there's a song in Tangled called Mother Knows Best, and then there's a Mother Knows Best reprise, and uh the reprise is much scarier than the original. And something about those two songs in particular got me so excited. I still can't 100% describe it, but I that's like a I that's the easiest like turning point I can identify from that long ago.
Like an anchor point.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Did you by chance pick up any of the scores for those yet?
No, I haven't.
Huh.
I don't know if there uh maybe there are public scores for that, but
Perhaps. Perhaps. We shall see. I'll do some research on that myself. Okay, so going back to, did you start with vocal? Like, did you used to hum and sing a lot growing up
oh
before
yeah.
you? Okay,
Yeah. I yeah, I used to watch Little Einsteins.
Little Einsteins. Okay,
Yeah. Um yeah, I definitely sang a lot. Um I don't so much anymore. um I yeah, my sister and I would sing a lot for sure.
that's cool. Did you do so as a student? And jumping forward a little bit, do you find yourself singing a little bit more than you have last couple years before you started Nebraska? Sightseeing dictation.
Oh, I guess my first 2 years, yeah, for like oral skills.
Hmm.
I sometimes I like I still hum and sing when I'm like listening to music. But other times I I have this problem where I get I like a musical idea in my head that I really love, and it stays there in very vivid detail for about 15 minutes before it disappears. And so if I don't have usually I can just notate that on like some staff paper.
Hmm.
Uh but if I don't have staff paper with me and I'm not in the middle of class, I will just like take out my phone and just record myself humming a melody just so I don't forget it later.
That's really smart. So when you first started noticing those rhythms coming into your mind, about what age did that start? Did you start noticing those start to kind of hit randomly?
Um, I think I was like around like 9 or 10, um, and it was super disruptive. um,
Really
uh,
inconvenient, right?
yeah.
That's interesting. So, with growing up, watching Little Einsteins and then starting to take piano and violin, was that your choice that you wanted to pick up piano and you wanted to pick up violin, or were those kind of the instruments that your outside influences or even family influences kind of brought to your attention and you're like, yeah, sure, why not? How did that go?
Oh,
If you
I
recall.
I think like both my parents were also very musical. My mom got 3.5 years into a music education degree at UW-Madison before she changed her major to sociology. Um, and my dad was a really great trombone player. Um, he actually won an army band audition when he was 17. Um, and so I think when I was younger, I thought that was just kind of like music was just a thing you're supposed to do. um and so I think I just chose the first instruments that were like available. um And then my parents were like, okay. And then I wasn't good about practicing.
That's understandable. Was there a local music program that you were a part of as a violinist, a beginning violinist, or any extracurricular activities that you were involved with during that time, or not till you were on trumpet and then euphonium?
um, yeah, I don't think I did many like musical extracurricular things outside of like I guess uh I did do church choir. Um I stopped doing that sometime in high school, but uh otherwise I wasn't really doing much outside of just like what I was doing independently.
So when you started middle school, and did you start trumpet at sixth grade at middle school, or how did that start?
I started in 5th grade.
Fifth grade? Okay.
Um and actually in my old district, middle school didn't start until 7th grade. Um and so I played trumpet through 7th grade, and then I got braces in 8th grade. And I think it was sometime, I think towards the end, like the latter third of 8th grade was when I started playing euphonium.
And what? So going back to trumpet, when you um, was it like fourth grade when you had the opportunity to do like the that musical petting zoo type experiment?
We actually didn't really do a musical petting zoo. I learned about this after high school, that that's a thing that people get to do.
Yeah.
Um we just kind of there was a sheet, and the elementary band director came into class one day and uh was telling us about some of the instruments, and then we picked like our top two. um and I think I think my first choice was trumpet, and then my second choice was clarinet, and I'm really glad it wasn't clarinet.
And when did you get your first trumpet? Was it at that point or within that next couple months?
It was within the next couple months. There was like a little summer band camp uh that I did before I started 5th grade. Um and my parents got me my first trumpet just a bit before that, I think.
And so, what instrument did your mom play, or was she vocal?
My mom was a clarinetist.
Clarinet, and that's why you picked clarinet.
Yeah.
Okay, the plot thickens. Um, Alrighty, so you did summer. How did you like summer band before fifth grade? Was that an enjoyable experience, or did you find that you had, kind of any hesitations or struggles, or did you have other friends that were in the band as well?
um I knew a couple people in the summer band. I didn't know very many people, but it at the time I don't think it bothered me. I think I when I was that young, I think I was just excited to do anything with music. So I don't remember having uh any like reservations about it.
Did you tell your okay? So I'm curious. So at 9 years old, for Christmas, you got a Kindle Fire for Christmas there, and you're playing around on the musical notation software that crashed frequently. Did you ever let your elementary music teacher know that you were doing all that and like playing with notation software and stuff like that, or
It didn't occur to me. um I it was just really fun, and so like I think when I was that young, it was almost like a game for me, and so it didn't seem like something that I needed to be telling my teachers about per se. I don't know.
did any of them notice when you were humming and writing stuff down, or not really?
uh I think they could probably tell when I was humming, but
But
uh
didn't correlate it with you writing notes down?
no. I well and at that point I wasn't as good orally then as I am now, and so at that point, if I was writing notes down, it was really just rhythms.
Oh, that's cool. So you were more of that's cool. So how did you learn rhythmic? Um, how did you define rhythmic, like beats and subdivisions and stuff like that, at that early of an age? Was it because of the your music program per se?
Yeah, yeah, I think so. I knew, I knew like pretty basic stuff. Like I could I could write down a meter, and I knew I didn't need a staff to just be, or like a full 5 line staff to just be writing down rhythms and stuff. Um, so I'd just write like whatever meter I wanted and then a line and then whatever rhythm I had in my head.
That's cool. So what was it like coming home and practicing trumpet, and did your dad break out his trombone or your mom break out her clarinet and practice with you or play with you or offer any advice, or how did that go?
Uh Neither of my parents really play anymore. Um my dad, I would come home and I would complain that I had to play a new high note, and then he'd be like, "Oh, you think that's high?" And so he'd show me like um uh he loves the Ohio State marching band.
Mm-hmm.
So he'd show me that, or he'd show me like Dizzy Gillespie, or um like just a myriad of jazz trumpet players.
Sure.
And then I'd stop complaining that I had to play an E at the top of the staff.
Did that motivate you or kind of demotivate you in a way when
I
he
was into it. I was really into it. I
okay,
thought that was really cool.
what was the coolest artist that he would show you, that really kind of resonated with you?
Hmm. You know, actually, my dad, on weekends, we had a record player, and on weekends when he'd be making breakfast, he'd have Rhapsody in Blue playing. Um,
Gershwin.
yeah,
But
I
that's a
thought that
clarinet
was really
solo.
cool. Yeah, it is.
I mean, that'd be cool to have you know, being able to. That's really cool. So that would be on the weekends.
Yeah. And I, I think it was kind of a roundabout way, I guess, of inspiring my trumpet playing, because I wasn't, I don't think at the time I was necessarily looking for like trumpet players or trumpet music in
Mhm.
particular. Um, and even now, I try to do a lot of listening. And I don't I listen to a lot of euphonium players, but I make a point to listen to a lot of everything else. Um, just because I feel kind of limited compositionally if I'm only listening to the instrument that I'm writing for, because it gives me a lot of hints, and it helps me write well for like specific instruments, but there's just so many other things that like I even just uh, something I noticed starting college and like getting through all 4 semesters of music theory and aural skills, I genuinely started hearing music differently. And
How so?
I like I can't describe it super well. It just
Sure.
like they're like these um I think I started hearing things like even simple things, and like finding beauty in these really simple things that I hadn't heard before, and then uh like beauty in these things that I think my classmates would disagree with me on about being beautiful. Um, but I even when I was younger, like I loved trumpet, but I didn't want to only listen to trumpet and have all of my trumpet playing be defined by just trumpet.
Mhm.
If that makes any sense, maybe
It
didn't make
does.
sense.
It does make sense. Um, it's really interesting listening to a composer's reflection that is an artist of any instrument. We have another one of our other cohorts, Phil Snedecor, also wrote the Euptudes and did that, but phenomenal trumpet player on his own right. And all the other composers, the and I'll use your word because it fits this beautifully, is myriad, a myriad of different instruments and experiences and opportunities that are so far out of the case or box that it really opens up different dimensions and opportunities for our instrument and musicians abroad, not just euphonium. And so that's really cool to hear about those experiences. So when you said you played trumpet from fifth to the end of seventh grade, and then you went, you got your braces during eighth grade. Is are the braces the kind of the tool that led you to the euphonium with the bigger mouthpiece to find comfort, or how did that transition facilitate there?
I think it was a mix of uh it was a mix of that, like trumpet really hurt my face after I got braces, but then also I was a very obnoxious trumpet player, and I think my band director wanted to knock me down. like or like I think because I I think she like I had deficits on the trumpet as well, and I think I at the time I thought I was better than I was. Um and I could still I could play, and I actually do still play trumpet sometimes, but like I had embouchure issues, and I don't know that that I agree with how she got me to euphonium. But uh I think she kind of I think part of it was she wanted to take my trumpet ego and put it in a different section.
Fair enough. So, how was that when you went home? I'm assuming it took maybe a week or two before you actually transitioned fully over to the euphonium. How was it when you brought the euphonium home, and what did your parents think? What do you think?
Um I think I I don't really remember what my parents thought. I think like she buttered me up about it too, actually. Like, cause she had me try euphonium, and then she was like, "You sound so great on that," and I was like, "Okay."
She sold you on you. That's awesome. That's pretty clever. So, how soon after did you start playing the euphonium? Was it at that moment she's like, "Okay, you're a new euphonium player"?
Yeah, I think it was for like our next concert I played euphonium.
Wow, pretty quick.
Yeah.
And that was eighth grade.
Yeah.
How did you feel? How many? How soon after did you feel comfortable with the euphonium?
Um I I did feel I felt pretty comfortable right away, I think. Um and then I like started like I think like I heard like the high schoolers play, and I also started learning more about like the world of euphonium outside of middle school, and I started feeling less comfortable because I was like bad at scales and stuff. um, I like and I also my band director had me just reading treble clef parts as well, and so I wasn't having to learn new fingerings or anything. um so it was a pretty quick turnaround for me. But I think I was also a lot more motivated to practice euphonium than I was on trumpet. I think I just liked it a lot more.
Like it felt like you were home with the euphonium.
Yeah, I guess.
Kind of like the music notes, the Kindle Fire that you had. You just really wanted to make it work and try
Yeah.
every which way whatsoever you could make it. When did you? I'm curious. When did you progress from the Kindle Fire to, or like to a laptop or better music notation software?
Um, I don't think I started using a laptop until 8th grade. And in between using Kindle and like actual notation software, I was an absolute fiend for GarageBand. I was so into GarageBand for the iPad. Um, and even though it wasn't like notated, it was that was more than enough for me. I loved GarageBand. um, and I still like even after I started like using like Noteflight and then eventually MuseScore, I still spent a lot of time just playing around with things on the iPad and like I guess dictating things I was hearing on the iPad that I couldn't find sheet music for. Um yeah.
That's cool. So you went. I'm assuming you weren't able to bring over the Kindle Fire notations that you made, just
No.
because I still can't figure out how to transfer over stuff uh, either. But
Well, it's
did you?
such old technology.
It is. It is. GarageBand though. In so you were playing with GarageBand at eighth grade,
Yeah, like 7th and 8th grade.
seventh and
Yeah.
eighth grade. That's cool. Did your parents notice that you're doing all this music notation and trying to dictate and stuff like that these
I
early
could
years?
not shut up about it. Yeah. I GarageBand was so cool, and I had to show like all my friends and my parents all the time every time I did something on GarageBand. I would give them like progress updates. Like they would see my unfinished stuff all the time, be like, "That's super cool." Ends on a half cadence. Like
That's really cool. Um, And so, what was it like sharing that with your friends too?
I was really lucky to have some very nerdy friends who indulged me quite a bit.
That's awesome. So you had a pretty good support network those early years, and I'm looking forward to covering your next in series and through high school, uh, going into high school, perhaps the last bit of eighth grade into high school there. Wow, that's really cool. That's a lot of really the interplay between music notation and composing at such an early age in relationship to piano, violin, then to trumpet, and then ultimately to euphonium. I'm looking at my notes. So, as those that are watching have, if you've seen the other uh, cohort videos, I have this huge notebook of notes that I take for each in series for our cohorts, and that's really awesome that you had a great support network and I'm looking forward to our second in series with you, Charlie. I really am. And then even the updates with the level up and the abyss into the abyss and all your other works as they progress and begin to refine and define your journey for years to come uh, as staples in yes, I'm kind of a Star Trek nerd, and those that listen to the podcast before this, and that's part of this, um, uh, staple it to the time and space continuum. Yes, I went there. I went there. For more information on Charlie Johnson's works, as well as where you can find out more information, watch other podcasts, or even the video segments for her in Living History series, and and Charlie's contribution to the International Euphonium Summit. You can find more information at as the timestamp goes, internationaleuphoniumsummit.com/Charlie Johnson. Charlie with an IE and then dash Johnson for more information. And if you'd like to include your story on as part of our cohort and cover your living history series and to make an impact in the next generation and those that are rising up in our community, reach out to me. I'm your host, Nicholas Hofter von Heidi. And thank you again for watching. And please share, subscribe, and follow Charlie's amazing journey as Charlie levels up, especially the next five movements and going forward. Charlie, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Everybody, thanks for stopping by. We'll see you next time.